now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, KELOLAND Weekend News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Carly Phillips. We've been tracking confirmed tornadoes across northeast South Dakota all evening. Viewers have sent us videos of the tornadoes up by Clear Lake. That system is headed east past Gary, South Dakota. And now we are going to turn to Chief Meteorologist Jay Trobeck and Meteorologist Brian Karstens to give us an update on those storms so far. Good evening, guys.
All right, good evening, Carly. We've got lots of tornadoes to talk about, Brian, and I know we've had some damage as well, and I know we're not done.
Right, yeah, there's a continuation of storms as we speak. Tornado warnings are in progress. I know we've been showing some of the video and pictures, and we'll try to get to that and weave that in as we can. But this is the latest setup on radar. Very intense training line of tornadic thunderstorms. It continues from near Castlewood. We have two circulation points. One that's just southeast of Castlewood. It's about 5 miles southeast of town. There's another one that's just west of Clear Lake. You need to be in your tornado shelter right now in these areas of Dual County and then westward back toward the Castlewood area as we speak. There's a lot of heavy rain here, so there's likely also some ongoing flash flooding threats, either ongoing or developing. And Jay, that's just part of the story tonight.
Yeah, off to the west, we've had strong thunderstorms move through southwestern South Dakota, just right over the top of the Rapid City area, just missing Rapid City. But to the southwest, you see those little thunderstorm cells. I want to show you that big storm. It started earlier out near Butte County, out by Belfouche, went through Butte County, Lawrence County, through Meade County, all the way to the southwest. We had some wind-driven golf balls. I say driven because we had wind speeds of 95 miles per hour. Right now, I wanted to show what Brian has on the screen, which is we have got some pretty good, we're seeing some lightning out of the Watertown area right now. And you're looking kind of toward those thunderstorms we have in Dual County.
Yes, that is correct. We're watching that from the Watertown camera. And again, at night here, it's going to be hard to see any of these possible tornadoes. So we want to make sure that you are glued to the latest information here, obviously, tonight. But that's one resource we're just monitoring.
All right, we are keeping an eye on those. Again, tornado warnings continue up in Dual County with additional storms. What's behind that lightning that Brian's showing there? Watch the bottom of your screen. We're going to have an update from the Storm Center in just a moment. Carly?
Thanks, Jay.
Trying to connect this with this, but not necessarily. But let's see if this ends up going a little farther east tonight. So there is some concern that that could happen based on what we're seeing in the last 45 minutes. That may be the scenario that takes over. Obviously, though, we've got a lot still to go with this tornado watch in effect north of Sioux Falls. That watch includes Howard, Madison, Pipestone, Brookings, Marshall, Tracy, Slayton, and Windham. And that's till 1 a.m. It also includes Huron. Look at that, too. We've got a couple cells popping there southwest of Huron.
Yeah,
now.
I was going to say, when all is said and done, we're probably going to have something coming to Brookings the way that is unzipping down the line there a little bit.
Well, they just popped a severe thunderstorm warning now for that area. Northwestern or northeastern half of Brookings County just popped a severe thunderstorm warning. Also, looks like Lincoln County, Minnesota, and Lyon County, Minnesota. So again, that is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. And I'll go to the particulars on that as we bring up the latest information. And again, that is for the potential here for some large hail, damaging 60-mile-an-hour winds. And that storm, again, 62-mile-an-hour wind gusts reported with that storm on the south side of that flanking line there. So basically 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts going to be possible here. And let's see what happens with this. But again, that warning includes Marshall, Hendricks, Ivanhoe, White, Ghent, and Arco until, and that'll run its course again before 11 o'clock. But if you're in those communities I just highlighted, you're on the very edge of this very intense line of storms, Jay.
Yeah, and it continues. And now we're to the point of these are dangerous storms now. I mean, they're always dangerous, but we worry especially about tornadoes after dark because you can't really see them. And especially on the north side of these, we have lots and lots of heavy rain. There's flash flood warnings posted. So the tornadoes have been kind of right along, as Brian said, that southern edge. And up here is where we had very heavy rainfall, so difficult to see those now. Again, around the Toronto area, Brian, that's where we're seeing some of that wind shear.
Yes, it is. Yes, and that's come back again. So again, please, we want you to be safe. We want you to be taking precautions right now. Get into your tornado shelter, and obviously that would be on the lowest level of your home or the structure you're in. We want you to get into the basement, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and protect your head from flying debris, because we have had instances tonight where tornadoes have hit farmsteads. We know that is confirmed. Now, this right now, again, is a Doppler radar indicated tornado, but it looks like around Toronto again, there's been some enhancement coming back on Viper. And this is the live view as of 10:37. So we're right here, right now, live, just covering this. And you can see that there's a lot going on tonight. Obviously, other circulations can develop within this line. The Weather Service has kind of gone back and forth on the mode of the Doppler here. So we'll kind of go back here to this view.
Punch us back to shear rate, can you? Because maybe that'll give us a better look at it. That's shear rate out of Sioux Falls. Let's see shear rate out of Aberdeen real quick, if we could. Well, same areas. Good. That's good. And that tail end, the tail end now, the tail side of that's starting to become a little bit more impressive. Out southeast of Dempster and west of Esteline. Yeah. So it looks like a second area now forming again.
Yeah, a very messy situation there. You've got, look at all these individual storms you have, and basically when you look at this situation tonight, it's not exactly a traditional setup. You don't have the individual storms. They've all kind of congealed into a very large complex, and this is just a sampling of what we're looking at this evening. I wanted to go through this just quickly here. I was looking through the middle of these storms here, and there's obviously quite a bit of hail in there too. That's kind of a secondary problem at this point. Obviously, when we're dealing with tornadoes, we're really keyed in on that. But look at how that storm, this one on the southwestern flank, that updraft is growing right in there. Yeah. See that?
A lot of ice there.
And it's tilted. It's going this way.
Tilted is a bad thing. It means it's going to be able to sustain itself rather than if it was straight up and down. So tilt is not a good thing.
Yeah, we're watching, again, all of this tonight. Let's zoom back out. Let's kind of reset the view here just for a moment, because I know we need to go back down to Gregory. And this is mainly a 60-mile-an-hour wind. Probably some hail in here too.
A low-end severe thunderstorm, which is kind of an oxymoron, but that's Gregory County.
Yep, that's 11:30 on that expiration time. I was just going through the latest information update there, and again, that's for about nickel-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So these, some of these storms again are developing as we speak, and we'll continue to watch for more development as we go throughout the evening hours here, Jay.
Yeah. Can we show that storm from the Watertown live cam?
Yes, let's do that. We'll go back to our live cam network.
It's right there. Yes.
Yep. Lightning storm and a lot of lightning, a lot of continuous lightning.
Yeah, this is looking southeast of Watertown. And really, that's what it's looked like southeast of Watertown all evening long. Lots and lots of lightning, which is why we've seen the heavy rain. Also, it's symptomatic of the strength of these thunderstorms, and it's been there all night long. Now, Watertown did get clipped a little bit earlier, but most of the activity has been just south and southeast of the Watertown area, so we've been able to watch those thunderstorms from that live cam. And here's a look at Lake Madison. I don't think we have pointed in the right direction, but
I'll move some of these around.
There's a bit of a breeze there. Yeah, I can move those around. While you're moving those around, I'm going to take a look. Again, we do have that tornado watch for what is here, the area in yellow, and up in the northeastern part of South Dakota, the big area there. Kind of north of the, north of Highway 34. Let's go back to Brian. You can tell us what you are looking at right there and right now.
Yeah, this is Gregory. I don't know if we can go back
Gregory
to that.
camera. Hold on, I'll switch you back and here. Okay, now go to Gregory.
Yep, Gregory. That's that electrical storm there. Look at the powerful lightning going on right now.
Wow. Again, they're under a severe thunderstorm warning there. It's a linear line, so I wouldn't expect any tornadic activity out of it. But, oh, my goodness, that is a lot of lightning. In fact, should we have a look and see how much lightning they have there? I think we can do that. Let's go down to that area. Here we go. This area. And let me pop on the lightning here. And it is saying that in that area, about 2,500 strikes in the last half hour, just in that, here, I'll zoom in a little closer, just in that line right there. That is a lot of lightning. 1,100 strikes, so quite a lightning show. In fact, let me go back and show the folks what we're looking at. That's what it looks like in the Gregory area.
Yeah, so now the question becomes, of course, are we going to continue to see more of this filling in on Doppler radar between that segment and then what's going on up to the north? And certainly there is some of this connectivity there a little bit. So we'll see where we're at here. Brookings.
And now that short-term model you were looking at becomes a little bit more plausible, which would bring that into the Sioux Falls area later tonight, at least just a piece of it.
Yep, potential is there. We're going to just watch it for now. But again, to recap the situation back to the north, this is the tornado warning in effect right now for Dole County until 11:15. We've got several areas here where we've had some very, very intense storm development. I'm going to go back to one of our other diagnostic products. This is a rotation detector product that we look at and basically gives us a diagnosis on the storm track here. East, southeast. This particular cell near Lake Norton is moving east-southeast at 17. So let's do this for a moment. I want to kind of do a storm tracker quickly. I would argue it's probably a little bit faster than that, but it's been training over the same areas. So this particular storm track, what we'll do here instead is I'm going to do a little broader one here, Jay. So we're going to bring that out just a little bit more to the east. There we go. Okay, so this is going to give you a better timeline. Esteline, you're in this now. So again, this is from basically the stronger points of this storm in terms of hail and rain, but you're within that now. White, South Dakota. So we're talking way over here, okay? So that's another 40 minutes from this side of the storm. Hendricks, Minnesota, you're also in the path. Again, this is going to just go right over you over the course of the 53 minutes. That's how I would argue in this particular case. This is not a traditional storm track because this whole line is just sinking ever so slowly to the south and building. And look at that in the last sweep of the radar. There we go. Now, see, we've got more activity here all the way west to Huron now.
Can you back that up? Stop right there. I need to mention this. This is just in from College Park, Maryland, from the Weather Prediction Center. Now they are saying, due to the favorable orientation for training, in other words, because those thunderstorm cells going after the same ground, they are now saying from the weather prediction, flash flooding is likely. Of course, we do have a flash flood warning. They're saying we could see spots of 2 to 3 inch per hour rates persisting for a couple hours just southeast of Watertown, South Dakota. Locally significant flash flood potential through at least 7Z, so like 2 o'clock in the morning. Basically, they're just saying exactly what we've been talking about, but that is rather ominous. Very heavy. Well, we're already seeing that. Look at your. Explain what you're showing there, Brian. I think you can do
this
that.
Is our rain total product. So it's looking at the rain estimates here on Viper, and some of these numbers we're getting are upwards of 6 inches of rain. Now, we have yet to confirm that much, but certainly 4, 5 inches. It's very likely we've had at least that much.
Very likely, and we're not done, of course.
No. And Brookings, of course, some of this is the 24-hour period. If I go to this product, this will actually firm this up a little bit. So this is a 3-hour product. Okay, so just to consider this latest 3 hours, there's where
the yellow and the
falling.
reds is what we're looking at.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of enhancement right there from Castlewood straight across. So flash flooding in addition to the tornado threat. I want to go quickly back to the latest that we're tracking right now with the rotation markers. And again, this spot that has come back up a little bit is just west of Esteline. I know that the whole box, the tornado warning box right now, includes Esteline, Toronto, Brant, South Dakota. So it's kind of a bigger area. It almost runs back up to Clear Lake. But at this point, it looks like maybe the southwestern quadrant of that is where the most intense circulation is located. But even back building toward, looking Lake Norden and Badger, and even the back edge now is down to Lake Preston and Arlington.
Yeah, and so thunderstorms like to grow into heat and humidity. And of course, we've had a south wind all day long. So Brian's just drawing the inflow there, moisture and heat getting drawn into that system, which is why we're saying this line is likely to extend a bit more. And you can see the northeastern half of Brookings County already under a severe thunderstorm warning, but I would not be surprised within the hour we start talking about Brookings area itself for getting at least some rain and thunderstorms. But boy, just north of there, Duval County's got to be just so soggy right now with all that heavy rain.
Well, those rainfall rates, Jay, are at least at 2 inches an hour. We actually have a product on the dual pole mode here of the Doppler radar that looks at rainfall rate. I don't show that a whole bunch, but this might be one of those times where, again, you can kind of look at some of these probing examples and, 2, 3, 4 inches an hour is very possible in there. So that's a lot of rain.
Yep. And we have another one of those shear markers near Esteline. It's been there a while. That's maybe our prime tornado threat right now.
Yeah, that's an area that we continue to suspect that would be one of the...
Maybe on storm relative, it might come out a little bit better.
Yeah, it's showing up right there on both. And yeah, we're switching a mode on the radar, so that's why we're not getting quite the definition of the colors, but it's still...
It probably matches up with shear rate there.
Yeah. Well, right there, this is looking from Aberdeen. Yeah, there's definitely some more interesting things going on. Arlington Beach, we're looking at this whole area right now, just to the west of Esteline. Please take that seriously, as that situation, again, is continuing to develop as we speak.
That's just outside of the tornado warned area, but don't let that don't be misled by that, because that's why they always say near the tornado warning area. Well, that's where it is, right on the edge of that tornado warned area right now. Yeah, and again, we've got several warnings in effect. So some of you that are just joining us, again, it is a very, very busy night. I know it's going to be kind of a longer night of some storm action here across portions of our viewing area. Just to recap the situation here as we're approaching 10 minutes before 11 o'clock. We've got storms going on right now in south central South Dakota. We have storms in the northeast. Let me take you on a tour just to kind of look at that. Again, you can see the batch of very intense thunderstorms near Gregory. These are producing up to nickel-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So we are going to track this. This is a different mode of severe weather, though. This is clearly a defined line, and we're not seeing the rotation or those kind of environmental conditions in this area. That has been occurring to the northeast, and obviously this is a very intense electrical storm. All of these lines there are indicators of all the lightning strikes we've been tracking here during the course of the last couple of hours. Jay just took that off, and then this is the latest spot on Doppler radar. These have been reoccurring all along this line. This has started up way north of Clear Lake and has been dropping ever so slowly to the south. And now at 10 minutes before 11 o'clock, this is where this goes next. So Brookings area, if you are in Brookings, you want to be paying attention to this. Obviously, the worst of that is to your north right now. But given the environment tonight, we think that this severe weather threat will continue. And there is a tornado watch in effect until 1 a.m. That is a live view from Gregory again there, Jay. Yeah, let's go take a look at that. Okay, that's Gregory. So lots and lots of lightning. Let's look at the Watertown area again, because we've got just intense lightning all over the KELOLAND region right now. Okay, that's Watertown looking to the east and to the southeast right there. So you can see a lot of intense electrical activity. And I'll bet from Sioux Falls downtown, I'll bet to the north, we can even see some of that lightning going on there.
Let's
we
bring up.
looked at that in a bit. So,
Yeah, we'll take you folks on
go north, up. Well, I don't know why it's so dirty.
That's
there.
the Platte camera.
No, that's Platte.
Let's go to Aberdeen. I'm going to just kind of cycle through these real quick to get to downtown. There we go. And of course, downtown Sioux Falls, we're going to get the city lights here a little bit. But
there we go.
Yep.
So you're looking at the bottom edge of that thunderstorm line. So you're looking up toward kind of where Dual County meets Brookings County. I would say make it like Highway 14 maybe. But you can see all of that lightning as you look in the sky over Sioux Falls.
And this is Lake Madison. And that's what we're looking at there. And we're catching that lightning show now just to the north and east of Madison and the Lake Madison area in particular, Jay, there.
Yeah, update from the Storm Center on that storm near Esteline. And the latest on that one is that we do have, that is still, the tornado warning continues, and the suspected area continues to be right, as we were saying, around the Esteline area, and that's where the rotation has been. And now you can actually kind of see, I think even by looking at the reflectivity, if you look, there's a little bit of a notch right there, and that's kind of the area that we are looking at. And you can see the spinning circle there. That is our rotation detector, if you will. That's looking at the combined Weather Service radars in Sioux Falls and Aberdeen, and merges them together to try and triangulate exactly where the wind shear is right now. So it's right around the Esteline area. Our Viper processor is kind of putting it down toward Arlington Beach, but in any case, that is what's going on there. So we will be keeping an eye on that storm system.
This is a view from Huron now. So just to give you another vantage point, we're looking to the east. And this is, again, the live picture here of that back building portion of that thunderstorm complex that's occurring north of Brookings. So we're looking east there. And that gives you some idea of what we're up against here on some of these storms tonight. The very powerful storm and all the definitive edges on those cumulonimbus clouds. They are big and they are very strong here. Looking at this picture here too, Jay, just the overall view here, I was curious as we put this loop together. So this takes us a 15-minute window. And again, Huron's really not involved with this yet. It's all well east of you, but certainly there are some cells that are popping up in between. So our idea that we would connect these two, oh, see, they just popped a severe thunderstorm warning now for Brookings.
Yeah, now the city of Brookings itself, and this is kind of what we thought. First of all, Arlington Beach, that's where our center of the circulation is. That's why you have the tornado warning. They're saying the estimate is on that cell that is drifting kind of in a southeasterly direction. I think maybe that had something to do with the fact that they have now included all of Brookings County in a severe thunderstorm warning. So Brookings County, including the city of Brookings and South Dakota State University, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 11:30 p.m. That's another 36 minutes from now.
Yes, and so please be in a place of safety. We've got, at this point, that storm producing some large hail, ping-pong ball-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. That storm line extending from near Esteline to near Lake Albert to near Hetland. It's moving to the east-southeast. Really, at this point, you know, and it's one thing about it, Jay, and I'll tell you, when we look at just doing a projection on these, got to remember that the whole thing is changing just every time we get new data in, because we're back building the cells. In other words, these on the western side, they keep popping here, and then the whole thing is moving pretty much due east within that, but then the whole line is just slowly sagging south. So the problem I see here too is Brookings could get into some really intense rainfall, if nothing else, and some urban flooding could develop.
Yeah,
so.
more on back building. What Brian means by that is, yeah, the whole system's moving in this direction, but also these lines are kind of growing to the south because they expand into the heat and the humidity, which is coming up from the south wind. So we would expect that. And if you thought it might have been a little odd that the severe thunderstorm watch, the tornado watch, was almost in effect all the way down, almost to Moody County. Well, that's the reason, because the expectation was there that these would grow to the south. And Brian, we continue to see that area of shear right near Arlington Beach. It's kind of drifting right around the Esteline area, very slowly moving to the east, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It does appear, though, that there are some winds that are beginning to push out, too, here. I would suspect that's what this is right here. That's some straight line wind, and that kind of coincides with the Weather Service putting out the severe thunderstorm warning that we have.
That's the Aberdeen radar, right?
No, we're looking from
Sioux Falls?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And as you can see on our Beersford radar there, it is really interesting to see how long of a line this goes. We're seeing this all the way from near Minneapolis, and now look at that, just that connectivity all the way down to Gregory and beyond into northern Nebraska. So, again, it looks like tonight that these thunderstorms will continue to produce several modes of severe weather. Obviously, we're hopeful that the tornado threat would decrease. You know, a lot of times it tends to do that, you know, as you progress into the overnight. But again, it's a situation tonight where at least through 1 a.m. we are under a tornado watch. But as of right now, severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for Lyon County, Minnesota. That's Marshall, Tracy, over to the Ivanhoe area. That's Lincoln County until 11:15. And then the Brookings County area, they've actually covered the whole county now. With this latest warning update until 11:30, and then farther to the west, Kingsbury County, just a little bit of Kingsbury County under that severe thunderstorm warning.
And way on the north side of that, Brian, Roberts County and Big Stone County, they've been cleared out of the watch. So
yes,
the expectation is that whole line of thunderstorms, and you know, frequently when we talk about these lines of thunderstorms, we talk about winds primarily, but not in this case, because the steering winds are going parallel, and that's why we have the flash flooding threat. Nothing is pushing those cells hardly north and south. It is more than anything just a case of the training, almost stationary boundary we have in the atmosphere.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear when you look at the radar. This is how, when this whole thing began. Let me back this up here a little bit.
Quarter-size hail just reported Hamlin County near Lake Poncet. Quarter-size hail.
Quarter-size hail, okay.
So it's more rain than hail.
And the rain product clearly is showing that right now. Again, we've been highlighting these areas up around Clear Lake just in this last 3 hours. These are numbers that we're getting in here, 3 to 6 inches of rainfall. Obviously, some of this, you get farther away from the radar, might be a little high, but it's not by much. I think it's probably better than 2 to 3 in that heavy swath for sure. Yeah, and it's slowly drifting south.
It's a shame. I know we've been checking with authorities, trying to gather reports of damage. A lot of these things are happening out in rural areas and farmsteads. We know there's damage because we've seen photos of it, but now in the same areas where we saw evidence of tornadoes touching down, we're getting the very heavy rainfall. So it's just going to be kind of a miserable night.
Yeah,
that's no rope tornado there, is it?
No, this is from earlier. Again, pictures that have been sent in to us at ushare@keloland.com. And there's quite a collection of those. Again, this is some more video, and obviously there's a lot that will be processed and put online as this storm event is unfolded. But, you know, in the middle of this was, very strong tornado. No doubt about that. We're way too early to get an estimate on how large, as far as rating is concerned. But definitely that will be a job that we'll be hearing more about as the Weather Service does their assessments here in the time ahead. In the short term, we want to be focused on what's going on in the here and now. So this is where we're at. It's 11 o'clock on the dot right now. This is live coverage from KELOLAND Media Group, KELOLAND Television, we are watching a strong line of storms. Severe thunderstorm warnings are now in effect from Marshall to Brookings, and heavy rain is definitely some of the emerging threats here, as we currently have no tornado. Well, we currently have the one tornado warning until 11:15. So we'll let that run for 15 more minutes. We'll see how that behaves and if anything needs to be added to that. But again, that's up into the Esteline area. Brookings, you are not in a tornado warning. You are in a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We've been watching kind of the edge of the wind that's kind of flowing out from that storm, Jay, and it looks like it's making its way down to about White and Bruce. That's about the edge of the gust front. So those are things we can follow.
I'm sure we have some outflow winds going to come through Brookings here. So the winds are going to pick up a little bit in the next few minutes, but that's not the main part of the storm.
Yeah, in fact, I would even argue there's that, but then do you see that little line that's extending right almost to Brookings and Aurora?
Yep.
Right there. Yeah, there's definitely some outflow coming into that area
That's what I'm looking at. So there's going to be a cool breeze coming in from the north in Brookings here in the next couple of minutes.
Back to these storms over Gregory, winter area. Again, this is a collection of storms, and let's put the radar, kind of go back to 10 o'clock. So this was an hour ago. Now we're seeing that line, and that's a strong line of storms. These storms, though, have not been producing anything tornadic. This is basically heavy rain and some very sharp lightning, a bunch of that. And then, of course, the potential for some strong winds over 60 and even a little bit of hail in there, too. But given the fact it's pretty warm aloft, that the hail threat so far has not been as prolific there. We'll keep an eye on it, though, nevertheless, here as we're kind of watching some of those parameters on Doppler radar here, Jay.
And I think, what county is that? Is that Gregory County? Let's see. Tripp County, the Weather Service and Rapid City just cleared Tripp County.
Yep. And there is some hail right there in that little core just south of Burke. So that's actually the radar looking at the shape of what's falling out of that cloud. And usually that product right there, that's a really, really accurate one. I use that quite a bit, and that picks up on hail, just the specific cores right there. Speaking of that product, let's go back up here to the Watertown area, and I'm going to take the lightning off. Let's just look at this. It doesn't show much right now, except for that little spot near Esteline. See, that's where the hail has come back again.
So the hail is. How about the shear?
Yep, let's go to that. So this is some of the rotation. I'm going to click on that product here as well. And as we go to that, this is what we're seeing, and probably not as much there.
How about from Aberdeen?
Yeah, let's take a look at that, and you can see same
thing. Okay.
Yep. So it is still
maybe a bit of good news there.
Yeah, and that's what we're hopeful for, that we can finally maybe put some of the tornado parameters down a little bit. And we'll see where we go next. But obviously, there's still more development on the back side of this. Every time we look at this scan, now you got Kingsbury County. There's 2 segments in there that are stronger. And even for Arlington, it's just knocking on your door. Again, be advised, though, just ahead of the main line of storms, there are some winds that are coming through. And sometimes that's a very subtle signature on radar. Let me show you this view there, but you can see that's definitely some outflow, Jay, right there coming. And when we say that, let me point it out with the telestrator. This is the little blue line right there. That's where that wind is rushing out. And what that tells me too, when you do see more of that, that means we're probably disconnecting the tornado threat a lot. And
that outflow actually could maybe undercut the development off to the west. So let's hope that's the case.
Yeah, it's a signal at least that things are changing a little bit here in the last few minutes. But at any rate, you still have to be advised of the strong winds and obviously any of these very heavy rain areas. And once they come into a heavily populated area like Brookings, you're going to get that urban runoff pretty quickly. So we want to encourage you to just be aware of that. Obviously, staying put here and being advised that there is definitely a lot of torrential downpours. There's that live lightning tracker too. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And 2 minutes ago, we got an update from College Park, Maryland, regarding the flash flooding threat. and it's they're at that place in College Park. They're not looking at tornado threats. They're looking strictly at the rainfall, and intense thunderstorms have taken on a favorable orientation for training. 2 to 3 inch hour rates persisting for a couple hours just southeast of Watertown, South Dakota. Heavy to extreme rain rates could pose locally significant flash flooding potential through at least 7Z, which is about 2 a.m. So.
Okay. Yep, and it's, pretty much this is we're tracking things tonight here. There's just a lot of heavy rain potential here.
All right. Well, you just leave that there. Let me show what's going on. The area in yellow, this is nothing. Ignore that, the light blue stuff. Here's a look at the area in the yellow area. That is the tornado watch area. Again, it no longer includes the northeastern corner of South Dakota. You see this, it's yellow on yellow actually is what it is. That's your severe thunderstorm warnings, and it does anticipate that the storm is slowly going to move to the south there. So that's what we have. The tornado threat is maybe waning here a little bit as the system moves to the south. And here are the lines that Brian's talking about. Looks like this line might be trying to connect with a line which has been producing a lot of lightning down in Gregory County. It looks like, Brian, they are now going to be connecting as the storm moves towards Sioux Falls. Yeah.
So if that continues, that means it's pretty likely Sioux Falls would pick up some thunderstorms tonight. Obviously, the potential is there for severe weather as we still have a numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. In fact, let's go ahead and just recap these for you as things stand here at 7 minutes after 11 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southern Gregory County. That's in effect until 11:30. There's also warnings in effect farther south, Keopaha County, Nebraska, until 11:45. Farther to the north, Brookings County, South Dakota, severe thunderstorm warning until 11:30. Far eastern Kingsbury County, severe thunderstorm warning until 11:30. And Lincoln, Minnesota, looking at a severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15. And the Marshall area, that's Lyon County, Minnesota, severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 11:15. Strong winds, 60-mile-an-hour winds plus, but more importantly, probably the flash flooding threat and the very torrential rainfall rates that are occurring within these storms. Tornado warning is still also in effect here. They're going to kind of let this one ride out till 11:15 for the Esteline area. Just to double check our rotation markers again, we have seen, I would say at this point, not as much definition to that.
Yeah, I think the cold pool is going to take over.
Yeah, that seems to be happening, at least on this end of the storm. My curiosity would be what happens a little bit farther west. We'll keep watching that, because that's been kind of the cycle here, is that this stuff will pop and then move into that main line as the whole thing is sagging south. So you've got these cells here out toward DeSmet and Lake Preston. In fact, let's do this, Jay. I'm going to go, let's see if we can do this right on the fly here. I'm going to go back to your source here. We're going to go to the live cam network. So we left you off at Huron. I want to go back to these because we've got our Lake Preston camera here. So let me scroll down. Just bear with me just for a second. That's some impressive lightning. That is for sure, isn't it?
Boy, there's a lightning show.
There's
everywhere.
that rain. Look at that.
There it is. It is really coming down there in Lake Preston, isn't it?
Well, yeah. And then this is just, you know, we're trying to see what we can in the dark, but you know, just looking at the street light here, look how that is just really, really hefty.
It's pouring.
Yep. And obviously, again, as we talked about before, you get into spots with street flooding and those kind of things are going to happen or can happen. So please be advised of that. But that's, again, a local downpour over Lake Preston. Let's go back to Huron again. That's the storm looking from Beadle County. We're looking to the east. It's quite a big lightning show there. Let's now take you to over to Madison. I'm just curious at Lake Madison what we've got there. Not much on that view, although we'll be panning these around again. That shot there doesn't quite give it justice. But a couple of other ones, I'm just going through the line, so bear with me here. Let's go to Platte. I know that's a little blurry, but I can reset that. We're going to hit this button here. Okay. And that's a lot of lightning there, too. That's out in Charles Mix County, Platte, South Dakota right now, looking at this storm. Let's look to the southwest. Okay, that's the view there. Now let's go to the southeast. You can see that. So, again, those are things we're watching. We also, earlier here, we had a shot from Gregory. Just going to go to that real quick here, too. And if we continue, that's Gregory right there. And, again, looking to the east. And that's the shot right there. There's a lot of lightning in there too, Jay. So a lot of electricity in the sky.
Yeah, and I have this in, Brian. Before we were looking south of Kadoka, and remember we were seeing the debris signature on radar. It was a confirmed tornado touchdown south of Kadoka. Several homes were destroyed, severe property damage. No injuries or deaths reported as of now. The path of the tornado was from the White River Bridge, southeast approximately 3 to 4 miles. Please refrain from visiting the area and allow first responders and families to clean up the area and assist folks affected by the storm. Again, that was that storm. It went all, in fact, can you zoom in on that? We'll be able to see exactly what happened.
Yeah, so you're talking about
a bit earlier. Go back.
So we had several homes that were destroyed?
Yes. There's
right?
Shear the markers and see that spinning. It looks like a hubcap there right in the middle of your screen. What that is Doppler radar looking out. And I was kind of trying to explain this a bit earlier. What's going on there is the Doppler radar is dual polarization. One beam goes out like this, another beam goes like this. And what they do is they compare those two, and by that they're able to tell whether the particles are similar, like raindrops, you get a similar return. If, though, it is debris, you get different size pieces of debris. You get big sizes, small sizes. And so what the radar is doing is saying, I got different size particles, and that means debris right there. And you can see here's Kadoka, and here's the area we're talking about, and I moved to the southeast. And yeah, it does appear that south of Kadoka, there has indeed been a significant event with homes damaged there. Fortunately, at least at this point, no serious injuries are reported.
Yeah, and we'll have more developments as we get confirmation from the Weather Service as to the whole situation going on there from folks just basically in the Kadoka area, just south of Kadoka is where obviously there's a lot of debris and a lot of things that have been impacted there, as you just mentioned, Jay. So again, that was the radar picture as of just before 8 o'clock this evening. So just to recap on some of the stories we're following tonight, let's go to the live radar picture. We've actually had more development of thunderstorms in that area, right around Kadoka, south of the interstate. Impressive line of storms continues right now in the Gregory area and then connecting up here. Looks like, Jay, the latest on that, just kind of zooming in here a little bit here west of Mitchell right now, we are seeing some development. And again, these things are popping up pretty quickly. If you look at the last 15 minutes, again, kind of filling in there in those gap zones. But certainly the bigger storms in terms of the training or the running over the same areas over and over. Isn't that something there north of Brookings and Marshall? Marshall now is just starting to get involved with this. Ghent, you're getting that heavy rain, and we look back at this. If we put this back an hour, you can definitely see that that is a, slowly moving south, but the whole thing, everything in the line is drilling to the east. So that's why you're hearing us talk about both of those things as we speak. Yeah,
I go to the edge of that. This is Lake Preston, and we can show you the live cam what that looks like there. It's coming down pretty good. It doesn't look like it's quite as heavy as we saw before, but it's definitely raining there. Now imagine that and double or triplet, and that's what they've been seeing all night long up in Dual County.
Yeah, they've been really hit hard with a lot of modes of severe weather tonight. And we know that many of you are watching and have been sending us pictures of things and video, and we're going through those. And make sure you check in on your email inbox, because sometimes we'll be sending you back information confirming what you've seen. So we appreciate your attendance to that. Obviously, if you have pictures and you were in a safe place, we always try to make sure that people are paying close attention to the warnings. But obviously, we know, too, that a lot of people are carrying around their phones, obviously, and taking pictures and having a lot of information to share with us tonight. So we are going to continue to make that known. And it is, by the way, 11:15, so the official tornado warning dropped now.
And it has. The Weather Service has dropped that. I see no indication that they're going, I don't think they're going to extend it because, well, actually, number one, the main part of the storm is now dipped down into like Brookings County. So I think that is done. And at the moment, we have no tornado warnings.
Right. Yep. Tornado warnings are done. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Brookings. We've had some wind picking up here.